What's up guys, and welcome back to Ty's Rides. So in 2011, I had just graduated college and I was in search for my very first real bicycle. I went to the bike shop and the guy there recommended a cyclocross bike. I knew nothing about bikes, but he talked about the versatility of cyclocross bikes, how they could fit a wider tire, you could ride road, you could ride dirt, you could do so much with these bikes. So I ended up going on Craigslist, finding a used Fuji cyclocross bike that was a 61 centimeter frame. It was just too big for me. I rode the crap out of that bike, but it just never fit right. So eventually I sold the bike to some dude who was like 6'5", so he got a great deal. I got most of my money back out of it and I bought my Cannondale. So if you guys have never watched a cross race, you've got to check them out. A lot of times these cross racers are racing through mud, dirt, rocks, snow. There's like obstacles they're running and like having to pick their bike over or like jump over with their bike. Cross races are super short and explosive, so obviously the cross specific bikes are going to be a little bit different than a dedicated gravel bike. For example, a cross bike, because these races are so short, they usually have a more aggressive geometry and they've got a higher bottom bracket for like getting over these obstacles. Gravel bikes are a little bit more relaxed. They've got a lower bottom bracket for going longer distances. On most cross bikes, you're gonna see like 33C tires, which gravel bikes, they're now making for accepting tires up to like 50C and wider. While cross bikes are nowhere near as popular as gravel bikes nowadays, there still is a place for them. People still do race cyclocross, and they're still a great do-it-all option. I decided to look at 5 big brands and find out what cross bikes they are offering for under $3,000. So let's get into it. The first bike on the list is the Trek Crockett 5 disc, coming in at $2,400. With this bike, you get an aluminum frame and carbon fork, 700 by 32C Bontrager CX3 team issue tires, a 1x11 SRAM Rival group set with a 47 tooth front chainring up front and an 1132 cassette in the rear. This bike also comes with SRAM Rival Hydro flat mount disc brakes. Trek claims that this advanced alloy frame looks and handles like carbon and is equally at home on gravel or your morning commute as it is on the cross course. The next bike on the list is the Specialized Crux, coming in at $3,000. With this bike, you get a carbon frame and fork, SRAM Apex Hydro disc brakes, SRAM Apex 1x11 drivetrain with an 1136 tooth cassette in the rear, 700 by 33C Tracer Sport tires. This Crux has been redesigned to be over 400 grams lighter than previous models, and the top tube has been designed for easy shouldering when hopping off to clear barriers, as it features a large opening on the front triangle and a flat bottom. The geometry also has a low bottom bracket and sharp front end. There is also plenty of tire clearance on each side of the 33C wide tires for clearing mud. The third bike on the list is from Kona, and that's the Major Jake, coming in at $3,000. Major Jake is an iconic bike from Kona, made for the serious racer still looking for something they can take on long cross-training rides. Carrie Warner and Rebecca Faringer both rode this bike to numerous podiums during the 2019 cross season. The bike comes with a carbon frame and fork, 700 by 33C Maxxis all-terrain tires, SRAM 1x drivetrain with an 1136 tooth rear cassette, and SRAM Rival Hydro disc brakes. The next bike on the list is the giant TCX Advanced Pro 2, coming in at $2,500. The TCX has been redesigned for 2021. The all-new TCX Advanced Pro features a redesigned, super light, advanced grade composite frame with a D-fused composite seat post that helps smooth out bumps and vibrations with an innovative D-shaped shaft. This new model also has the ability to accept a 30.9mm round standard or dropper seat post. Along with the carbon frame, you also get a carbon fork, full SRAM 1x11 drivetrain with an 1136 tooth rear cassette, SRAM Apex Hydro disc brakes, and tubeless ready rims with Maxxis all-terrain tubeless 700 by 33C tires. As for a great value bike on this list, it doesn't get much better than this giant. And last but not least on the list is the Cannondale Caadx 105, coming in at $1,800. So trying to keep this list under $3,000 led me to talk about this bike and not the Super X2, which comes in at $3,150. With that bike, you get a carbon frame, a 1x drivetrain, and while the bike I'm about to talk about does have an aluminum frame, I felt that was fitting for the Cannondale bike that I talk about on this list to be an aluminum frame because of how popular and how awesome and light the Cannondale aluminum frames are. Cannondale labels this bike as the perfect first cyclocross bike, backup pit bike, super commuter, or all-road adventurer. With this bike, you get a super light aluminum frame with a carbon fork, and unlike the other bikes in this list, a 2x Shimano 105 group set. The bike comes with 105 hydro disc brakes, and for tires it comes stock with Schwalbe CX comps in 700x35C. While this is technically a cross bike, I feel it would also be right at home on some long gravel rides or races due to the fact that it has a 105 group set and clearance for up to 37C tires. So there you have it, 5 big brand cross bikes under $3,000. And while I know what you guys are thinking, why would I buy a cross bike? Why wouldn't I just buy an all-road bike? Well, if you ever think that you might want to race some cyclocross, these bikes are still a great option for going out on a road ride, for going out on a gravel ride, for doing gravel races. Guys, I hope you liked the video. Remember, tell all your cycling friends about the channel. Hit me up in the comments with comments or questions. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and you guys have a good one.